What if everything you believe about your life, your struggles, your dreams, your identity, is just a line of code inside a cosmic simulation? Now take a moment and really let that sink in. What if your deepest fears, your wildest hopes, and the story you tell yourself every day are simply the output of a system you didn't even know you were part of? Today, we're diving into a conversation that bridges the wisdom of ancient spirituality with the cutting-edge frontiers of science and technology. We're not just talking about theories. We're talking about something deeply personal, your reality, your mind, and how peace might not be found by chasing something outside, but by decoding something within. Dr. Deepak Chopra, one of the most profound spiritual thinkers of our time, once said, "The universe is made of nothing, and yet it gave you everything." That's not just poetry. It's physics, consciousness, and the beginning of a new way to see yourself. And according to Dr. Joe Dispenza, your thoughts don't just influence your body. They are actively rewriting your reality in real time. Think about that. Your thoughts aren't passengers. They're programmers. What does that mean for your life? It means you might be living in a universe that listens, that adapts, that responds to the code you're sending out with every belief you hold. So here's the question: if you could rewrite just one line of that code, what would it say? This isn't about escaping reality. It's about unlocking it. Because in the next few minutes, we'll explore ideas that will challenge how you see your world, yourself, and your potential. We'll look at how the most advanced AI technologies mirror the deepest spiritual truths, how consciousness might be the real operating system behind everything, and how inner peace may start when we stop trying to control the world outside and begin decoding the world within. So pause for a second. If you could ask the universe one question, what would it be? Drop it in the comments. Let's begin. What if the world you see around you, your room, your job, your relationships, even your reflection in the mirror, isn't the real world? That idea may sound like a sci-fi movie plot, but it's actually at the center of a growing wave of scientific and spiritual conversations. According to Dr. Deepak Chopra, you are not in the universe. The universe is in you. And that changes everything. Let's start with what science is telling us. Physicists have discovered that 70% of the universe is made up of something they call dark energy, a force we can't see, touch, or explain. Another 27% is dark matter, just as mysterious. That leaves only 3% for everything we think of as real: the stars, planets, people, and your morning coffee. But even that 3% is not what it seems. Quantum mechanics shows us that particles, what make up atoms and therefore matter, disappear into waveforms when not observed. In other words, the universe responds to your awareness. You're not just part of reality. You're helping create it. Dr. Joe Dispenza puts it this way: your brain doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's imagined. Think about that. If your brain can't tell the difference, what does that say about the nature of reality itself? This idea is echoed by Don Hoffman, a cognitive scientist who believes that reality is not objective. It's a user interface. Just like your smartphone screen gives you icons instead of code, your perception gives you a usable version of reality, not the raw data. Want a deeper look? Former NASA physicist Tom Campbell, in his book My Big Toei, Theory of Everything, describes the universe as a digital simulation, one where consciousness is the computer and your mind is the player. And if you think this is all abstract, check out what's happening in real labs. At MIT, quantum entanglement experiments are showing that particles can affect each other instantaneously, even when separated by vast distances. That kind of spooky action hints at a deeper, hidden layer of reality, one not bound by space and time. Popular media is catching on too. The documentary A Glitch in the Matrix explores stories from people who feel they've woken up inside a simulated world. Whether that's literal or metaphorical, the message is clear: something about reality isn't adding up. Spiritual teachings have long echoed this. In the ancient Indian philosophy of Vedanta, the concept of Maya suggests that the physical world is an illusion, an ever-changing projection of consciousness. Michael A. Singer, author of The Untethered Soul, describes his own realization of this truth during moments of deep meditation. He stopped identifying with his thoughts, his emotions, even his body, and saw himself as pure awareness watching it all unfold. And that's the heart of it. Maybe you're not here to conquer the world outside. Maybe you're here to decode the world within. The more we explore these ideas, the more they point to the same truth. The world may not be as solid, as fixed, or as objective as we think. And that's not bad news. That's freedom. Because if your life is a simulation, then it's also programmable. So let's stop asking, is this real? And start asking, what kind of reality do I want to create? Pause here and ask yourself, what part of your life feels most scripted? What if it's just a loop waiting to be broken? Imagine for a second that your mind is not just a place where thoughts happen, but the control room of your entire reality. That might sound like a wild claim, but leading voices in both science and spirituality are telling us it's not just possible. It's already happening. Dr. Joe Dispenza teaches that change your energy, change your life. And what is energy if not thought and motion? What if the patterns you repeat every day, your habits, your emotions, even your self-talk, are running like a mental operating system? Dr. Deepak Chopra echoes this, explaining that every thought you have is a quantum event. It's not metaphorical. It's measurable. Your thoughts send signals to your body, shaping your brain, your hormones, and your health. Let's ground this with something simple, the placebo effect. At Harvard Medical School, researchers found that patients who received sugar pills, told they were medicine, actually healed faster than those who received nothing at all. Their belief triggered a biological shift. That's not magic. That's mind over matter, literally. Now think bigger. In Dr. Dispenza's own workshops, he's documented cases of spontaneous healing, people with chronic pain, autoimmune diseases, even cancer, who experienced dramatic recovery after changing their internal state through meditation, breathwork, and focused intention. These aren't miracles. They're instructions we've forgotten how to use. But it goes even deeper. When scientists mapped the human genome, they expected to find detailed instructions for every aspect of the body. But they discovered something strange. Huge sections of DNA didn't seem to do anything. They were labeled junk DNA. But what if it's not junk? What if it's dormant code waiting for the right signal? Some researchers now believe that consciousness, emotion, and even belief can activate this invisible part of the genome. Your biology might be listening to the story you're telling yourself and waiting for you to change the script. Michael Beckwith, founder of the Agape Spiritual Center, lived this transformation. He went from addiction and arrest to becoming one of the most respected voices in spiritual empowerment in the U.S. His turning point, realizing that he wasn't just a product of circumstance, he was the author of his life. That's where AI comes in. Just like large language models generate answers based on the prompts they're given, your mind is constantly generating emotional and physical states based on the thoughts you feed it. It's not that different. And the real power? You can choose better prompts. Lisa Miller, professor at Columbia University, has found that people with a strong spiritual life show significantly lower rates of depression and anxiety, especially teenagers. In her studies, the brain literally changes shape when people engage in spiritual practices. More resilience, more peace, more clarity. Dr. Daniel Goleman, author of Emotional Intelligence, says we can rewire our emotional responses by becoming more aware of them. Mindfulness isn't just a buzzword, it's a tool, a way to override the old code and install something better. And here's the twist. Your brain can't tell the difference between what's real and what's vividly imagined. So every time you replay a fear, a failure, or a regret, you're reinforcing it. But when you visualize joy, success, peace, you're building new circuits. You are literally sculpting your mind every single day. So maybe it's time to update the program. If this is opening your mind in a new way, let us know with a key emoji in the comments. We read everyone. And now let's take a breath and reflect. If you could delete just one emotion from your inner code, which one would it be? If your mind is like software and your reality is like a projection, then here's the big question. Can you rewrite your internal code to unlock peace? The answer, according to today's leading thinkers in both science and spirituality, is a resounding yes. Dr. Deepak Chopra took this idea and turned it into a living tool. With his digital Dharma project, he trained an AI model using 98 of his books, 40 years of columns, and thousands of answered questions. But here's the twist. The AI doesn't just deliver generic advice. It reflects your input, your state, your patterns. It helps you see yourself more clearly. Not because the machine is conscious, but because you are. He explains, AI will never be conscious, but it can lead us back to our own. Now imagine that power not just in your pocket, but in your breath. Today, across schools in the US, programs like Headspace and Inner Explorer are using AI-guided breathing and mindfulness tools to help kids manage anxiety. These aren't kids studying philosophy or meditation. They're learning to quiet their minds with simple practices. The result? Lower stress, better sleep, stronger focus. Imagine what's possible if we all did the same. Dr. Joe Dispenza reminds us, your personality is your personal reality. If you keep thinking the same thoughts and feeling the same emotions, you'll keep getting the same results. But when you interrupt the pattern, you install a new program. This is where deep learning enters the conversation. Companies like Effectiva have trained AI to read human emotions, not just words, but facial expressions, tone of voice, even micro-reactions. And if machines can be trained to read emotions, what's stopping us from training ourselves? Gabor Mate, a respected voice in trauma and healing, says that many of our destructive patterns begin with unprocessed emotion. The addiction, the outburst, the shutdown, it's often a reaction to a wound we haven't acknowledged. But once we become aware, we gain choice. And with choice, we gain power. Sadhguru takes it further. He warns that technology without spiritual maturity is a dangerous path. But when used consciously, it becomes a sacred tool. It's not about rejecting the digital world. It's about integrating it with wisdom. So how do we begin? It starts with the questions we ask ourselves. In her work, Byron Katie invites people to challenge the beliefs that cause suffering. She teaches 4 questions that act like mental code breakers. Is it true? Can I absolutely know it's true? How do I react when I believe that thought? Who would I be without it? These questions aren't just philosophy. They're practical tools for peace. Here's the beautiful part. You don't need perfect circumstances. You don't need to escape your life. You just need to look inward and start listening to what your patterns are saying. Because every belief you hold, every thought you repeat, is writing a line of code in your life's program. What if peace isn't something you find, but something you remember? What if your purpose isn't hidden, but waiting for a better question? And what if your most powerful spiritual breakthrough is just one prompt away? So now here's your turn. What's the first command you'd give to your inner operating system if you had access right now? Maybe the universe isn't out there, far beyond the stars. Maybe it's within you, coded into every thought, every emotion, every breath. And maybe peace isn't a place you find, but a vibration you unlock. We've explored some of the most mind-expanding ideas today. Thoughts as quantum events, reality as a simulation, consciousness as the true foundation of existence. Not as abstract theories, but as doorways to something deeply practical, your transformation. Dr. Deepak Chopra reminds us, the field is not outside you. You are the field. That means you're not just reacting to life, you're shaping it. Every moment. And Dr. Joe Dispenza says, you don't need to predict the future. You need to create it from within. That creation doesn't start with a goal. It starts with awareness, with presence, with choosing to think, feel, and act from a new space inside of you. So what would happen if you believed, fully, that your reality responds to your consciousness? What would shift in your relationships, your health, your sense of purpose? The code isn't hidden. You are the coder. And that means the power to experience inner peace doesn't come from controlling your environment. It comes from rewriting the patterns inside it. The truth is, you're already running a program. The question is it one you chose? So today, choose differently. Think with intention. Feel with clarity. Ask better questions. And let your own awareness be the most powerful technology you've ever used. If this message stirred something inside you, let it ripple out. Like this video, subscribe for more conversations that expand your mind, and share it with someone you care about. Because together, we're not just learning how to live, we're learning how to awaken.
Hey, incredible growth seekers. Wow, what a journey. If this video resonated, subscribe now for more life-changing content. Join our community of self-improvers. Smash that like button to fuel more content on mindfulness, goal setting, and emotional intelligence. Share this video to create a ripple of positive change. Comment below about your growth journey. Your insights shape our content. Next week, boosting self-confidence and overcoming limiting beliefs. Don't miss it. Every interaction brings us closer to a world of empowered individuals. Let's make personal development global. Stay inspired, keep growing. Your best self awaits. Let's unlock it together.